Hello everybody and welcome to another one of those videos where I talk about updates on Dwarf Fortress coming from Toady1 and KitFox. Wow, I did the intro the first try this time. It didn't take me 3 recuts. Anyway, Tarn Adams has posted a blog post on the 18th, as well as a patch was released today. So we're going to be starting off with that blog post from the 18th, and then I'm going to talk about the patch and my experience playing with it, and what to expect kind of coming soon in the near future. Toady writes, "We have some final text input issues to work out in the SDL2 version, but Putnam has been heroically sorting through them. Hopefully, that'll be ready to go soon. Not much to add to the last log, everything is moving forward a bit at a time." So what he's referring to here is over the past some odd weeks, we've had a version of the game that's been running in an experimental branch on Steam, which anybody can play if you just simply opt in. The experimental version moved the game over from SDL to SDL2, making the UI run a hell of a lot smoother and essentially setting up for Mac and Linux ports of the Steam version. It also added in some other features, which we'll be getting to in a moment, but that version had a bug in it, which, long story short, every single time you would try and type something in, the game would still think that hotkeys were active, and this caused some absolute madness for me while streaming with it over the past few weeks to months, maybe, at this point. However, with the patch today, that has been resolved, and Tarn writes, "In this release, we are updating the engine from SDL to SDL2. There are many optimizations to go along with it. Aside from the optimizations, SDL2 is also a stepping stone to ports. We have Linux compiling and playable, it just needs some testing. Moreover, there is now an experimental multithreading option in the game settings menu. That makes the game run even faster." Now, I talked about this before in the last news video when it was added, and I just want to say, it's been very stable, at least for me on the multi-threading running. Haven't had any weird crashes. In fact, I think the game's been more stable than it has been in previous months, so that is a massive positive. Lastly, he also writes, "We also have some new individual tree graphics and an update to grass ramps as well. This has been mostly the hard work of Putnam. Meanwhile, I've started up on adventure mode. The long work of updating menus and adding audio has begun. Hopefully, we'll have some progress to show there soon. And as we continue updating Fortress mode as well. Tarn." Now, before I talk about the patch, I just want to jump back to Tarn's blog post on the 8th, where he mentions this. "Over in Fortress mode, Putnam's almost ready with a menu to review old reports and announcements, and is working on making a filterable, sortable lists more consistent. Between adventure work, I think I should have a chance to look at ammunition issues this month as well. And we've got an additional tree and plant graphics coming down the line, as well as graphical improvements to engravings and bookshelves and more." So, planned for this month was kind of a lot of things, and it seems like a lot of stuff has slipped from the original post that we read at the beginning, where they were talking about the text issues. Now, the actual patch itself seems to run great. The text issues are fixed, the hotkeys no longer lock into place while you're trying to rename things, which is a godsend, and overall the game runs significantly better. Back when I was still flipping between the previous versions and the experimental build with the multi-threading and then without the multi-threading, I was noticing anywhere from 5 to 25 frames per second on my forts at any given moment. The multi-threading itself multi-threads the line of sight code, which, as Putnam discovered earlier this year, was one of the large hamperers on long-term frame rate. As the forts get older and as dwarves start looking at more things, they start to slow your fort down. So long-term forts are more viable now that the game will no longer slow down for that particular reason. Of course, there's other sources of slowdown, just sheer numbers of items and physics and pathing and all that other thing can slow your fort down. However, this is one issue that is being resolved, and I think, frankly, it's kind of incredible that we've even made it this far. So while this might seem like a bit of a bland patch, as it's just performance updates and engine updates, I think that this is a really important one because we are now lined up for Linux. Linux being very close to running natively will be a fantastic improvement for everybody running on any Linux platform. I know it runs in Proton quite well currently, but native is always going to be better than running in a wrapper, regardless of the situation and how well it runs anyways. Multi-threading is an awesome precedent that shows that the game is modernizing slowly and improving and will run better in the future. And I'm looking forward to that tease that Tarn talked about, where Putnam's working with menu review options and better sorting and filters for the menus. I think that's going to be massive when that happens, and I'm looking forward to seeing updates on adventure mode, and I think that everybody else here as well, based on the views of previous videos where I talked about adventure mode specifically. But with all of that being said, I just want to say a real quick thank you to everybody who supports this channel and watches these videos. This channel has had a massive dip recently. I've heard some people talking about the YouTube algorithm. I've moved my VODs, the video on demands, the stream archives, from this channel over to the Blind Extras channel. There's a link to that down in the description if you would like to go watch the VODs, because I'm still uploading those. They're just simply going on a different channel now. I'm trying to make this channel more algorithm friendly for the future, because frankly, recently it's been kind of not great. So I just want to say massive thank you to everybody who supports this channel on Patreon, because the Patreon now eclipses this YouTube channel's revenue every month. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who's been hanging around the streams and watching as we go through the slow months of summer when everybody's outside and not playing as many video games. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.